We added 70 feet of distance to this player's hits in just 8 weeks. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly what we did. And if you're new here, I'm former MLB player Jermaine Curtis, and I help players add power to their game so they can hit those extra base hits and start standing out. And if you're interested in adding power to your game, I'll put a link below where you can schedule a time with me and my team so we can look over your swing and see what's holding you back from hitting for power. With that being said, let's jump into it. Now, before we get started, I want to show you a before and after. You'll see right here on the left-hand side, this was his swing, and he was basically optimizing for contact, right? You can see how his mechanics, very simple, cuts across his body a little bit and wasn't getting to his legs. And you can see here that he had a 47 exit velocity, but you can see here, it's a little bit dramatic, but you can see how he really fires everything. And he has that high finish, and you can see how those numbers jump up so much. So I'm going to walk you through what we did, the changes, and I'm going to walk you through why his parents joined this program. So the first thing is the issue was that he made contact, but he couldn't drive the baseball, right? He would hit the ball consistently, but the balls weren't flying. And him being a bigger kid, they knew that he had more power in the tank. So we went through the program, and the first week, what we focused on was bat speed, right? Getting him to whip the barrel, right? And so you can see here how he kind of just guides the barrel to the ball, right? Kind of like just slowly rotates. And actually, let me pull this over so you guys can see it full force. But you can see here as he starts to swing, it's very simple, repeatable swing. You can see how he just goes right to the baseball. Okay, very simple, repeatable swing. He was just guiding the barrel to the ball because they just wanted to make contact. That was the ultimate goal, right? And so you'll see here, there's a difference in how he swings the bat. Obviously, the intent is higher because he's trying to get a higher exit velocity, but you can see how he's whipping the bat. Okay, you can see it right here. There's a whip action, right? There's a whip action on contact, and that is what's allowing him to get those numbers fired up. So the first week, that's what we focused on, was increasing his bat speed and getting him to start whipping the barrel. The second thing we did, week 2, we started focusing on the swing. You'll see here in his swing, okay, you see how the swing, it goes down and he cuts across. And so that's what mostly all his hits were ground balls. And when he really did hit the baseball, you'll see that he was hitting it hard. He was just hitting it hard into the ground. And by the way, if you want to see his dad's testimonial, I'll put the link below as well. You can watch from his dad's mouth everything we changed and how, you know, that's changed him as a player. I'll put that below for you as well. But that was mainly what was happening with his swing. He was swinging down. Coaches told him to swing down, and he would cut across his body and he would hit those low liners. And when he did hit the ball hard, it was either on the ground or where it was a low liner. And him being a big boy, they knew he could start driving the ball for a little bit more power. Now, you'll see here, and let me move myself over here. You'll see here, there's a difference, obviously, with his intent and what we're trying to do here. You can see how, for one, you'll see his dad with the radar gun up. So we wanted to basically create the right launch angle. There's one thing in hitting the ball hard, right? And then there's another hitting the ball hard in the air. And that's what we want to do, was start to increase his ability to hit those line drives and those towering fly balls. And we do that through the catch swing framework. I'll put a link below and you can watch that video if you're interested in that as well. But basically, it's allowing him to start driving the baseball more in the air. And you can see here as he gets to the baseball, you can see how there's a difference. He's aiming higher and he's trying to elevate it as high as he possibly can and hit it as hard as he possibly can. And that's what leads to those distance, increasing the distance on his hits and hitting those doubles. And eventually it's going to be home runs for him. And he's only 10 years old. So that's what we focused on week 2. was basically the catch swing framework. You can see a difference in the bat path and what he's trying to do. Okay. And then week 3, we're focusing on the lower half. Now, a lot of players his age don't really use the lower half that well. And you can see it here as he was swinging. Okay. Right. You can see how his feet right here are close together, and it's a really handsy swing. And so he made contact, but he wasn't using his lower half right. He wasn't creating ground force, which I know that's a term many of you might not know, but he wasn't creating ground force. He wasn't coiling, right? No coil, and he just wasn't using his lower half properly to drive the baseball. So that was one of the things we focused on week 3, was getting him to use his lower half much better. And I'll show you, another view of it as well. Okay. Really, his swing was optimized for contact, not damage. Now, you'll see here, and actually, let me move this over, pull myself over here now. But you can see here, there's a difference. And I know there's a big dramatic shift. You see how he's coiling, right? And he's coiling his core as well, right? Look how his core is tightening up. You see how that knee is going this way, right? You can see how his movements are a little bit dramatic, right? And then you'll see here as he starts to swing, you can see how he's riding that back leg, okay? And now he's uncoiling everything, right? And his core is engaged, and that's starting to basically increase all those velocity numbers. And you'll see his lower half as well gets fired, right? Okay. And so that is what we focused on week 3, was getting that. And we're still focusing and working more on his lower half, because I think there's more in the tank that he's not getting. And we're going to be, tweaking that and working on it. But you can already see a difference in his lower half, and that power is starting to getting released into his swing. Now, the 4th week, we focused on hip shoulder separation. So I'll move this over here, and then you'll see, let me move this back to the before. But when he would get his front foot down, you can see how he has a simple repeatable swing, right? He's doing some right mechanics. One of the things that was an issue is that his hands would start pushing too early. And so right when he would get on his load, get into the launch position, his hands will push too early, and that was leaking his power, right? And so we wanted to get more hip shoulder separation, so that we can pull that rubber band back and get as much as we can in his swing. And you'll see here, right here on this, you can see how once he starts to get that front foot down, you can see how there is more from his front foot, okay, to his basically launch position. It's expanded longer, which is allowing him to get more power into the ball, because he's having just a little bit more time to speed that barrel up to get to the ball. So we focused on a few of these things and getting him to move properly and move athletically and explosively. And that has basically helped him to hit the ball harder and farther. Now, the next following weeks, 5 through 8, we were just touching up on the things that we already did and maximizing how he moved, so that he's able to, get those numbers up. And I'm gonna show you weekly what we did. And there's some weeks where he didn't actually gain any distance, and I'll show you that right now. So as you can see here, week 1 he gained 14 feet. The week 2 he actually didn't gain much. We're working mostly on his swing, so he didn't actually gain any distance on his hits. But week 3 he gained 7 feet of distance. That was working the lower half. And then week 4, when we actually got him to basically improve his hip shoulder separation, that's when his numbers started to jump up, right? And that's when he gained 28 feet. And week 5, 6, 7, and 8, we just refined what he was doing in week 4 and the other week, so that he was able to use that in game. And that's how overall he gained 70 feet in 8 weeks. And if you want to see his dad talk about it, I'll put the link below. But I also want to share with you, he just started his games in New York, and I want to show you one of his major hits that just happened right recently. So first off, his dad just wrote first triple. Actually, can I expand this? I don't think I can expand this, but his dad just wrote first triple. He missed the fence by a foot. I posted a video on the power group, and you can see here, let's bring this up. They talked about Jace triple scoring 3 runs to give Gates Chili Storm 10 and under 5-3, and then they end up winning the game because of his big hit. Now I want to show you the actual hit. Put myself over here. Yeah, look at Jace. Look at that leg coil. Boom.
There it is. There it is. Go, Jace. Go, go.
Oh boy.
There you go. Go hard, Jace.
Go, go, go.
There you go. There you go.
That's amazing. Congrats, Jace. All that hard work. And it shows up at 70 feet of distance to his hits. He's able to start driving the baseball, got a triple in one of his first games back playing. And it's awesome. So if you want results like this, I'll put a link below. You can schedule a time with me and my team. We'll look over your swing and see what's missing that's not allowing you to unlock that power that's already within you. So with that being said, if you're interested, the link will be below. Thank you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.